The sky above King's Landing ripped open, a sight so surreal it seemed like a dream. The once clear blue expanse was now marred by a jagged tear, pulsating with an eerie glow. It happened during a big tournament, a grand event that had drawn people from all corners of the realm. The air was filled with the sounds of clashing swords and cheering crowds. A celebration for King Bran, the Broken, who had united the Seven Kingdoms. His banner fluttered proudly in the wind. Fancy lords and ladies from all over the Seven Kingdoms gasped, their faces a mix of awe and terror. They had never seen anything like it. They pointed at the swirling, colourful hole in the sky, colours they'd never seen before. It was as if the very fabric of reality was unravelling. The air crackled with weird energy, a sensation that made the hair on their arms stand on end. It was both terrifying and mesmerising. From this swirling mess, people fell out, tumbling through the air like rag dolls. Their descent was chaotic, yet they seemed unharmed. They landed in the tournament field, kicking up dust and causing everyone to scream. These people were strange, unlike anyone the crowd had ever seen. They wore metal clothes and bright colours, their attire shimmering under the sunlight. It was as if they had stepped out of a different world. They moved super fast, faster than anyone in Westeros. Their speed was almost supernatural, leaving trails of light in their wake. Even the bravest knights were scared, their hands trembling on their swords. They had faced many foes, but nothing like this. People whispered about demons and dragons, their voices hushed with fear. The old tales seemed to come alive before their eyes. Queen Sansa, smart like the Starks of old, told her guards to surround these newcomers. Her eyes were sharp, assessing the situation with a calm demeanour. The first one to stand up was a woman, her presence commanding attention. She exuded confidence and strength. She wore red, gold and blue, and her blonde hair was in a tight braid. Her voice was strong, carrying across the field with ease. She talked about a place called Earth and a group called the Avengers. Her words were strange yet compelling. She talked about a bad guy so powerful he ripped them from their home and brought them here. The crowd listened in stunned silence. The last one to stand up was a giant, his presence towering over everyone else. He moved with a grace that belied his size. He wore red and gold armor, his eyes scanning the crowd with a fierce intensity. He held a hammer that crackled with lightning, a weapon of immense power. His gaze was intense, filled with determination. He looked at the crowd, his eyes squinted and began to speak. His voice was deep and resonant. He talked about a crazy bad guy called Thanos and a quest to find powerful stones. The crowd hung on his every word. He talked about a fight that wasn't supposed to be theirs, but one they would help win. Their resolve was clear. The Avengers, it seemed, had come to Westeros, bringing with them a promise of aid in the battles to come. The world of Westeros would never be the same again. Everyone was confused. The air was thick with uncertainty, and the unfamiliar surroundings only added to the chaos. The Avengers, pulled from their world in a flash of light, found themselves in a place that seemed to belong to another time. They were now in a land of castles and kings, a stark contrast to the modern world they knew. It was very different from the tall buildings and cool technology of their Earth. The medieval architecture and ancient landscapes were a world apart from the sleek, futuristic cityscapes they were used to. Captain America, always the soldier, took charge immediately. His training kicked in and he knew they needed a plan. He told his team to split up and find out what was going on. Each member had a role to play and they needed to gather as much information as possible. They needed to figure out where they were and how to get home. The landscape was unfamiliar and they had no idea what dangers might be lurking. Iron Man, his super smart brain working fast, started scanning everything. His suit's sensors were on high alert, analyzing the environment for any clues. His suit hummed with weird energy, picking up signals that were unlike anything he had encountered before. He felt himself being pulled towards the Red Keep, the king's castle. It was as if some unseen force was guiding him there. He hoped to find someone there who could explain this strange new world. The castle loomed large, a beacon of potential answers. He found Tyrion Lannister, the king's advisor. Tyrion's reputation as a clever and resourceful man preceded him. Tyrion, a clever man with a quick wit, listened to Iron Man's story. He was intrigued by the tale of these strange visitors. He talked about the Seven Kingdoms, dragons and White Walkers, and the recent war against the Icy Night King. The history of Westeros was rich and complex. He said Westeros was a land of magic and fighting. The battles they fought were as epic as any in the Avengers world. Iron Man, in turn, told Tyrion about his world's battles against aliens and bad guys. The stories of their struggles and victories were equally compelling. They started to become friends, two smart and strategic minds, recognizing each other. Their mutual respect grew as they shared their experiences and insights. News of the strange arrivals spread fast. Whispers filled the air and curiosity grew with each passing day. From Winterfell to dawn, everyone was talking about it. The Seven Kingdoms buzzed with rumors and speculations. The Avengers, spread out across the Seven Kingdoms, met the rulers and warriors of this land. They were strangers in a strange world, yet they found common ground. Captain America, always trying to do the right thing, looked for Daenerys Targaryen. He had heard tales of her strength and her dragons. He'd heard stories about the Dragon Queen and her fight for what's right. Her journey was legendary, filled with trials and triumphs. He found her in Dragonstone, her family's castle, looking out at the sea. The waves crashed against the cliffs, a reflection of her turbulent past. They talked about being a leader, about doing what's right, and about how hard it is to have so much power. Their conversation was intense, filled with mutual respect and understanding. Daenerys, who knew all about betrayal and loss, didn't trust him at first. Her eyes were filled with suspicion, a result of her many betrayals. But she saw something honest in Captain America's eyes, a sincerity that was hard to fake, a promise of loyalty and truth. Meanwhile, Thor, the god of thunder, felt drawn to the giant wall. The ancient structure called to him, its icy presence a stark contrast to his fiery power. He felt a powerful, old and cold energy there. It was a force unlike any he had encountered before, ancient and foreboding. He found Jon Snow, the king in the north, at Castle Black. Jon was a man of few words, but his presence spoke volumes. They stood on top of the wall, looking at the icy land beyond. The cold wind whipped around them, a reminder of the dangers that lay ahead. Thor talked about the Nine Realms, about frost giants and empty space. His stories were filled with wonder and danger, a testament to his many adventures. Jon talked about the White Walkers and the long, dark winter that almost destroyed his world. His voice was grave, filled with the weight of his experiences. They saw themselves in each other, warriors who sacrificed everything to protect their people. Their bond was forged in the fires of their shared struggles, a testament to their strength and resolve. Section 4, a very bad team-up. The Avengers didn't know it, but something much worse was happening. In the ruins of Harrenhal, a spooky old castle, two figures met. One, a skeleton made of ice and evil, the Night King. The other, incredibly strong and obsessed with balance. Thanos. The Night King, his cold blue eyes full of hate, listened to Thanos. Thanos talked about the Infinity Stones and how they could change everything. He suggested a team-up, one that would give them control over both Westeros and Earth. The Night King, seeing a chance to freeze everything forever, agreed. Their plan was simple but terrifying. Thanos would use the Infinity Stones to weaken reality, letting the Night King create a giant army of the dead. This army, powered by the stones and the Night King's magic, would destroy Westeros, leaving only silence and ice. Section 5. Fight for the throne. Everything went wrong. A dark shadow fell over the Seven Kingdoms. A huge army of the dead, bigger and scarier than ever before, marched south. Leading them, riding a dragon covered in ice, was the Night King. Beside him, Thanos, his infinity gauntlet glowing with power, watched the destruction. The news reached King's Landing and everyone panicked. The Avengers, no longer confused, were ready to fight. They knew this wasn't just for Westeros, but for their own world too. The battle was epic. Dragons fought in the sky, fire against ice. The Avengers, using their amazing powers, fought like brave knights. Thor's hammer smashed tons of ice zombies, his shouts shaking the city. Iron Man, a red and gold blur, blasted through the dead, his beams burning everything. Captain America, his shield a symbol of hope, led the defenders, each punch full of courage.